Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Riya Gandhi, and in today's video, we are going to dive deep into understanding three of the most important movements in modern drama in English literature. Friends, it is very important for you to cover these drama movements because if you look at the previous year question papers, you will realize that a significant portion of the paper has asked questions related to modern age. And as you already might be knowing that the next exam will be in January 2025. So it is very important for you to start preparing from today itself. And if you have already started preparing, it is very essential for you to keep on revising. This video is exclusively for three most important movements in modern age, especially the modern drama. Modern drama, or the dramas of modern age in English literature, were revolutionized, or you can say went through significant changes because of the emergence of realism in modern theatre, because of Henrik Ibsen. Touted as the father of realism, Henrik Ibsen was a Norwegian playwright, and because of that, he wrote his plays in Danish, which were later translated into English by Sir Edmund Gosse. The most important difference that marked Ibsen's realistic plays and made it a benchmark for other plays as well was that he did not deal with certain hubris of a certain king. Rather, he dealt with the socio-cultural problems of the day. He dealt with the grim realities of the time. Henrik Ibsen's realism soon started to spread to the English theatre as well. Especially, it spread widely after George Bernard Shaw published his Quintessence of Ibsenism. Now, in addition to Henrik Ibsen's realism, the modern theatre, especially in English literature, was also susceptible to the consequences of World War I. That is why, in addition to the socio-cultural realities that these plays dealt with, they also dealt with a very intricate and a deeply layered psychological makeup of the characters, emphasizing upon the meaninglessness, or you can say the isolation, alienation, and despair of mankind. And this was sort of amplified after they were influenced by Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theories, especially the concepts of the subconscious, the unconscious, id, ego, and superego. So as you can see, there were a variety of influences that sort of developed and shaped the modern theatre during this age. Having said that, let's now focus upon the three important types of movement in modern drama in English literature. These three types of movement are kitchen sink drama, theatre of absurd, and finally the Irish drama movement. The first drama movement that we are going to discuss in this video from the modern age is the theatre of absurd. The term was coined for the first time by the Hungarian-born British writer and critic called as Martin Esslin, who talked about this term first in his article, the 1960 article of the same name, and then in his book, again of the same name, that is Theatre of Absurd, which was published in 1961. Although this is considered to be a post-war phenomenon, the mood and the tone that are often characteristic of the Theatre of Absurd were captured as effectively as early as in the 1896 play of Alfred Jarry titled as Ubu Roi, that is the French name for Ubu the King. It emerged in France as a result of the horrors of World War II as a rebellion against the traditional values and beliefs of the traditional socio-cultural society. It was largely influenced by various art and literary movements like Expressionism, Surrealism, and Existentialism. They basically focused upon the meaninglessness and the senselessness of life. They believed that there is no meaning to life. Now, to capture this mood, to capture this theme, they basically banged upon the dialogues. Now, how did they do that? They focused upon creating dialogues in such a manner that they don't make sense to the audience. That is, sometimes the dialogues would be juxtaposed in a weird manner. Sometimes these dialogues would not make sense. Sometimes one character might be saying something and another character would be saying something else. Now, if you're watching this as an audience, you will feel like, what is happening? Why is it not making any sense? Similarly, these playwrights want you to question about life. One of the most important playwrights associated with the theatre of absurd movement was Samuel Beckett. He wrote his plays initially in French and then later translated them into English. One of his most important and influential plays that captured the essence of the theatre of absurd movement was Waiting for Godot. It was published in 2 acts in 1955. The setting of the play is basically very simple. It is at the foot of a leafless tree where there are 2 old wretched tramps called as Vladimir and Estragon, or also known as Didi and Gogo. Now, both of these tramps, they are endlessly waiting, nonsensically waiting for a mysterious Godot. Now, we don't know who Godot is. Is it a god? Is it a living being? We don't know who that person is. And then you have this farcical distraction or diversion in the form of 2 other characters called as Pozzo and Lucky. Now, Pozzo is that bullying master in the first act, and Lucky is his submissive slave. And then towards the end of Act 1 comes a messenger who tells them that Godot is not going to arrive that day. He is going to arrive tomorrow. So these 2 tramps think that should they hang themselves by the tree or should they wait? They decide to wait, and that's how the first act ends. The second act begins at the same place with the same 2 characters waiting for the mysterious Godot. The only difference is that there are 2-3 leaves on the tree. Again, these 2 characters come for a farcical distraction, but this time Pozzo is blind and Lucky is deaf. Again, the messenger arrives and tells them that Godot is not going to arrive that day. He's going to arrive the next day. So this is how the entire play ends. There is no meaning to it. There is no sense to it, capturing the fact that there is no meaning or sense to life. Other similar plays by Samuel Beckett are his Endgame. Other playwrights are Eugene Ionesco, who has written 2 of the most influential plays capturing the essence of theatre of absurd, including Chairs and Rhinoceros, then N.F. Simpson's One-Way Pendulum, and Tom Stoppard's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. The next important drama movement is the kitchen sink drama or kitchen sink realism. It emerged in the 1950s and the 1960s. At the same time, it basically focused upon the dark and the grimy realities of the society, talking about unemployment, poverty, homelessness, addiction, and more. Its main theme was class and money. The term kitchen sink drama basically derived from a painting that was created by John Bradby of a kitchen sink. So it basically focused upon the characters' domestic and real life issues, expressing the disillusionment with the British class society. At the same time, it created characters which were quote-unquote anti-heroes that audience or the readers felt very difficult to relate to. One of the most important things that I would like to clarify over here is that a lot of people differentiate between kitchen sink realism and angry young men theatrical movement, but it is important to understand that they are more or less the same. So one of the best examples of kitchen sink realism or angry young men theatre is John Osborne's Look Back in Anger that was published in 1956. This particular play, Osborne basically creates an anti-hero sort of a character called as Jimmy, who basically represents the unemployed middle class section of the British society, especially after World War I, who have nothing to contribute despite their good education. And that's why they are so frustrated and they're filled with anger, and therefore they direct his anger. Jimmy directs his anger at his wife Alison, who comes from that elite British society. and that's why this play has a lot of misogynistic themes in it as well. Other important plays of kitchen sink realism are basically Arnold Vesker's plays, also known as the Vesker trilogy. They are Chicken Soup with Barley, Roots, I Am Talking About Jerusalem. This trilogy basically deals with the life of East End London Jewish family, the family of Khans. Finally, the last and the most important theatre movement during the modern age was Irish theatre movement, which was a part of a larger, broader Irish literary movement that focused upon reviving the old Irish culture, myths, legends, folklore in order to bring that Irish literary renaissance. The first initiator of this particular movement was one of the most prolific writers, William Butler Yeats. Now, William Butler Yeats was basically inspired by the Gaelic movement, and in 1896 he established the Irish Literary Society, and in 1904 he established the Abbey Theatre in Dublin. When we are talking about William Butler Yeats, he is considered to be one of the most prolific writers not only of Irish theatre but also of modern age. He is also considered to be the father of symbolism. So in his plays you will find a lot of good mixture of symbols with Irish culture, mythological legends, folklore, and various other stories. His most important play that you should know for your UGC NET English preparation is Deirdre that was published in 1907. It is a verse drama which is almost equivalent to the Arthurian legends in English literature. This poetic drama is rooted in the Irish mythological legend of Deirdre of the Sorrows, which basically forms a part of the famous Ulster cycle. It focuses upon this beautiful young maiden called Deirdre, who is prophesied to bring tragedies to the kingdom of Ulster. Apart from these important theatrical movements, there are also other important playwrights like T.S. Eliot, George Bernard Shaw, who are frequently asked in UGC NET English exam. Now, if you want to understand their works in detail and understand the kind of questions that are frequently asked related to them, you can attend my live classes for UGC NET English exam preparation. In these classes, I'm not only sharing certain essential tips and strategies that help me crack the exam in just first attempt, but I'm also covering every important topic, work, author related to the history of British English literature and Indian English literature in a very detailed and simplified manner. Not only that, but I'm also explaining every concept and work related to literary criticism, which will provide you the confidence to ace this exam. Since these are live one-on-one classes, I'm also providing personalized guidance tailored to your needs and requirements, trying to fill the gaps in your UGC NET English exam preparation. If you want to know more about the courses I offer, the sessions I take, and the notes I provide, feel free to check out my TopMate page. It's topmate.io/Riya Gandhi. I've shared the link in the description box below, so don't forget to check it out. That's it for today's video, folks. If you found this video on 3 most important theatrical movements informative and helpful, please like it and share it with other UGC NET English aspirants. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any videos that I will be uploading on such important topics and concepts related to UGC NET English exam in the future. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you in the next one.